And we're live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. Me and Nick, you've probably seen us somewhere before. And today we have Nikki. Welcome, Nikki, on board.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to chatting with you both.
Can you just give us a brief, overview of a brief bio about yourself, just for people who are, listening, and they probably know you, but obviously want to learn more about you.
Yeah, sure. I've been doing SEO for probably about 10 years or so, maybe just over. I started with an in-house role and then found my way into the agency side from there. I specialize in technical SEO. The way that I describe it is basically making sure that websites load quickly and are easy to find and work efficiently for users and search engines. I find that that's a really universal way for people of all ages of experience to understand. I work for an agency now full time, and I've also been running my own freelance business as well for the past 5 or 6 years. So I basically have two roles there. I also have a newsletter that I run, and recently started running local SEO events with a friend of mine called Chris Lever. So we run an event called Tech SEO North.
Amazing. Nothing like that's like I think we always need to start, even if it's like our focal point, like technical SEO or whatever, with the most interesting topic of all, and that's like AI, our like accommodation to AI search, Google AI mode, AI overuse, losing clicks to that, and then similar. So I guess we can like open with that, especially because I am pretty sure you're super familiar with everything that's going on there with answer engine optimization or geo or whatever. So you can let us know what's your current like workflow around that, and what you're thinking about everything that's happening right now.
I'm sick of all the different acronyms. It's probably the first place to start, and it's came across, at least from my perspective, it just started because of all these random LinkedIn influencers. Not even people that are knowledgeable in our industry. For 9 times out of 10, it's just some tech bro on LinkedIn, and started offering GEO services, and his post got popular, or their post got popular, and everyone thinks it's the new biggest thing. Ultimately, whatever you call it, to me, it's still SEO. I still call it search engine optimization. It is still the same thing. I know some people have started calling it search everywhere optimization, but same thing, different label. Ultimately, though, whatever you decide to call it, if you want to be visible in ChatGPT or any other LLMs, all of it just comes down to doing good SEO, doing the basic things well. And there's been a lot of talk recently as well about whether or not structured data and schema actually helps. It certainly doesn't do any harm, is my short answer to that one. But yeah, as long as you're doing the standard things that the likes of us have been doing for years, and everybody else, making sure your content is crawlable, accessible, making sure that you've got helpful content and you've got reputable backlinks and all those sorts of things, then you're going to be set up for success and start seeing yourself or your clients' websites appear in LLMs.
I think something I've brought up just before as we were prepping, there is a lot going on, and SEO is dead, and we're losing traffic, and that's sort of like stakeholders obviously are asking questions about these things, and there is an interest because there's an AI bubble and everyone is talking about AI. There's also interested in going after ChatGPT and other LLMs and that sort of thing, and like, how do you handle this? Because I'm starting to feel people are losing trust in SEO, and hey, this is not going to be there forever and we need to switch to other platforms. But, in reality, it's not what, yeah.
Yeah, the biggest problem, or the biggest question that we get from stakeholders is, what is your approach to AI? How are you handling it? And I created a framework to help with that, and because ultimately they just want to feel reassured that you are still the right agency, you are still the right consultant or team to be working with, and if they understand that, then usually they ask fewer questions because they trust that you've got things handled. So yeah, I created a framework called Visible, and it's, I'll perhaps share it on LinkedIn again after this, but yeah, there's like each of the different acronyms. So you've got visible content, intent match, structured data, informational hubs, brand authority, leveraging first party data, and evaluating your exposure. And there's several steps into each one, but when we're able to share that with our clients and explain to them that these are all things that we're already doing, and show them actually in the strategy that this is what we're already doing, then it helps. And also I found that having it in a handy framework like what I've got, it's something that those stakeholders can then take and share with their necessary teams, and it gives them that extra confidence and reassurance as well.
I love this.
Sarah, I just needed to jump in here. I think like someone will say, or from the listeners for sure, or followers, and we have pretty massive at this point, like following base combined. The point is that like we are not preparing and hosting people here that are already agreeing with us. But like, yeah, I need to reassure that like what Nikki, what you said there, it's basically like that someone asked me. That's like my opinion on that, especially that I'm sick of acronyms, and I'm very vocal about that. So if someone wants to check that, like you have actually in my recent post on LinkedIn, like a really breakdown of things that I'm getting very annoyed by. And I really, yeah, I think even yesterday I posted about like sales, and as an agency you need to have like pipeline, you need to sell your service. So SEO is getting like basically like blown away by everything that you said, and like then I wanted to ask you. So basically, my opinion on that is that if business wants to focus on what's going to be acting for today, geo or answer engine optimization, whatever. If they want to focus on that, I really had a lot of conversation with founders of startups recently, and I asked why. And there is no answer on that. Like I said, okay, like is it the hype? Is it like, as you said, Nikki, I completely agree with that. Like some half educated guy decided to make more money and then started to spread false information. So is it the hype? Is it the fear that you're gonna be like behind, as you said, Nikki, that maybe they just want to feel safe, or basically you can benefit from geo, let's say like that. So my point is like do you think that people can, like business owners and stakeholders, they can find a way to actually justify the decision to buy geo instead of SEO, even if we all know that like good fundamental SEO is geo? Because I'm not even sure why is that like even question right now, as I don't feel that a lot of businesses can utilize traffic from LLMs in the best way.
No, I don't think it's something that you can justify, like just taking out GEO as a service, because what even is GEO? But also, it's not something that we can properly track. Yeah. Nobody can properly track it. You can see where your referral traffic is in GA4, and it's usually very, very minimal. But in terms of being able to track your performance, there's not a single tool that I have found, and at Journey Further we've tested quite a few. There's not a single one that's doing it really well in a way that we trust them as the source of truth. There's ones that we use a lot, and I think like Wakey, I still don't know how you say it. It's Dixon's tool, Wakey, does it really, really well, and that is the one that we're using the most. But you've got Ahrefs and all of the others trying to do stuff with brand radar, and it's great, but also I don't think it's something that you can trust. And I know I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable if I was selling it as a standalone service.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. I think there is a buzz, and stakeholders who are not like on the ground, like CMOs or people who are not like SEO is not their area. They're high up the chain. Are pushing for AI, anything that's related to AI. There's all these clickbaity things, and that's creating pressure on SEOs to just do these things and get those tools because they have to tell stakeholders, hey, we have data, right? And I think one good example of how much pressure this is, even major tools like Adobe and Amplitude, and we're not just talking about SEO tools now, other tools as well are trying to have such features, right? Like for AI visibility, because the market is huge, not because it's needed, but because there's just a demand caused by the media and, all the things we see on LinkedIn, which is crazy.
Yeah, I would just also add here that I really agree with both takes. I really think what Nick said, like that I preaching that all the way up. So there is no like firm and positive tool that can track that. Like we have like custom setup. It was like very funny recently with one of my clients. As a Nikki, as I said, like I'm running also agency, but I'm the founder there, so I need to handle client relationships. We had a discussion, and he asked me, "How much is this your tool per month?" Because like tools that we know, Profound, Athena, or whatever of those tools, they're costing like 800, 600. I'm not even sure per month. And then I said it's free. And he said, like, how? I said, like, basically, it's data from GA4 that you can like custom set up and like follow by referral codes, like LM traffic. But then he asked me, okay, like what we can follow? We can follow mentioned in pages, but we cannot follow prompts. We cannot follow keywords. We cannot follow entities. We cannot follow anything apart from that. And he is like, but 1 second, like they also cannot do that. And I said, yeah, that's the whole point. So like if we like even that's crazy for me. Like people spend fortune to get like how many times someone like from LLMs like used your website as a source, but then you cannot like dig more deeper. And I guess for you as a technical oriented SEO expert, numbers and data and everything is super important. So I completely understand the point that we don't have even proper tracking. So how someone can justify if the traffic from LLMs is super important compared to the Google that's still making 92, 94% of all traffic online.
Yeah, exactly. You and I can search for the exact same thing and end up on the same answer, but the way that we got there would be completely different because we're different people. We're in different parts of the world. We've got different history in ChatGPT and all the others. So that I don't see how they could ever track that, especially at the minute.
And here's the thing, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think a good SEO that has some time to invest can create a small tracking tool themselves. Like you can, I mean, you're just generating prompts and pulling like you don't need to invest in this unless I don't know, like you don't have time or you want something like with a lot of features and it means something to you. But what I see is you can just create a Python script or use any type of automation you prefer, and then you can just pull the have your own dashboard, right?
Our in-house tool is legit like GA4 and then Google Data Worker Studio and like custom templates. Like basically nothing more than that or more complex than that, and it's working like completely fine. The whole point is that I really think we can make conclusion here that, and I think I'm gonna cover that like in the next of my posts. I really think for 2026 that like businesses should look like in both directions. I don't want to be like exclusive here, but I really think that like if some business wants to focus solely on LLM visibility for the whole budget and cut SEO, then they need to have a good reason why. They need like business owners should answer why you need that, because like okay, at the end of the day we have one number and that's less than 2% of traction for coming from LLMs. So if you want to focus on that fraction instead of 90+%, you need to have like very good reason. So yeah, regarding that, Nikki, you mentioned that you handle your pretty similar position that Sara. Sara also had like very similar journey regarding professional. state. So I wanted to ask you regarding projects that's coming in on behalf of agency or your own projects. You said that you love to do audits, that you love to focus on different things. So what's your standard workflow and the query? I want also to include there newly hot topic of geo. So is it part of the audit too? So what's usually some new work frames that you implemented this year compared to the years before?
Yeah, my audits haven't changed massively in terms of making sure that they cater towards LLMs. There's a few things that I've tweaked the wording of slightly, but there's nothing wildly different that I'm now checking that I wasn't checking a few years ago, specifically related to AI and LLMs. I mean, I update it regularly anyway. Things get deprecated. There's algorithms get updated, and there's just new tools that I can use. So I'm always updating it with that, but I certainly don't have a dedicated LLM section as part of my audit. But the first thing I always do, regardless of how big the client is or whether it's an agency client or a freelance client, is click around on the website. Before I open up a spreadsheet, before I even start looking at any sort of data from any tool, is can I check out? Can I complete an inquiry? Can I do the things that a user of this website would want to do? Is there any weird pop-ups that are getting in the way? The most common, not the most common, but the most interesting one for me that I found a few months ago is something that I would have only found by clicking at the site, because this would not have come up in the data, which is on mobile specifically. You'd go through this was an e-commerce site, so you'd go through the checkout process, you'd add it to cart, and then you were able to customize it a little bit further. But you couldn't convert, because at that point, because the way it was laid out on the website, the chatbot icon was right in the corner, covering up the payment button. So I could not complete the transaction. It was slightly different on my partner's phone because she's got a different model, but I'm on an iPhone. I don't know what model this is, 14, 16, I don't know, standard iPhone. And
You forget they're all the same.
I know, yeah, they're all the same. I don't know that one. I'm on a standard iPhone that's quite a popular model.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly not the only one that's having that issue. And it was only by I was testing it on different screen sizes on my phone, and I was getting inconsistent results. So then I used her device, and then I was seeing that that's right. It's not a problem on hers because she's got a different size screen than what I've got. And on the back of that, I was then able to dive into specific parts of the data and look at, there is a drop off on this device, and now I know the reasons why. But had I not done that as a first step and just clicked around and just experimented with what a user would try to do, I don't know that I'd have found that issue, or I don't know how long it would have taken me to find that issue. And I think that's a massively underrated step, is just use the website.
Yeah, I really think that. Sorry, Sarah, for cutting you off there. I really wanted because this is opportunity for me as someone who loves also audits to share my gratitude towards your workflow there because a lot of agencies unfortunately still in 2025 doing SEMrush or Ahrefs or whatever to one-click export, even Screaming Frog.
It's not an audit. That's not an audit.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain that, and when people ask okay, why you are charging that or whatever, I'm so wait, what? You can do that by yourself, and you can start your own account for $200, whatever, and then you can do the exact same things. But for me personally, and I'm very happy to hear this. Usually standard, and Sarah knows that as we are working together on some projects, that I always add QA of the UX and UI in my audits. And they always why is that design that's not SEO, whatever? No, if you're doing SEO and if you're bringing the traffic there, our KPI is lead, is actually to push user journey to the end. Then how we can do that if we don't know is anything okay design wise on the website? and you are 100% sure you couldn't find that issue without checking both versions. And recently we just had also one website launch where like I insisted on that. So basically, first be sure that users are fine. After that, we can open the spreadsheet. We can like do on-page tech, off-page content, or whatever else we need to do. So I really love that. Sarah, sorry for cutting you off there.
No, it's okay. I actually wrote a few notes as you speak, Nikki, and I have so many things to discuss. So, one second.
Let's go.
First of all, I love that you mentioned you were checking something on the website. This is like manual testing on top of like all the, we use tools, Screaming Frog, and they're great, but we also need to do manual testing as part of our audits. And I think this is a big differentiator between people who are just pumping out audits and sending them to clients from tools and, doing your own things.
100%.
What are your thoughts? Is there something you feel maybe like a tip or something around that, or something you've like this example is great, but is there like other example you want to share? Like, what are your thoughts on this area?
Yeah, I think that's the most obvious example that I've found of doing it that way. There's definitely been others, but I think it also comes with experience. It's only as I've got more experience that I started to do the manual checks. Certainly when I first started, it was easy to go straight to the tools and whatever data, and I never even thought about actually using the website. So I think that would probably be like the number one tip, especially if you are new, as I say, is look at the website. It's so simple and it seems so obvious, but like you say, it's something that not many people are doing, and people just go to SEMrush and click export and say, here you go. But that doesn't tell you anything. You need context. You need other areas to look at, because anybody can export a PDF. You're right. You can do it for £200 a month or whatever. But it's the human element. It's the experience. It's the actual analysis that makes up an audit and means that you're getting something that's actionable.
Okay, I want to give you the mic, Nick, but give me a second. I'm sorry, I'm like just super excited with the things. Okay, so you mentioned like an audit checklist for clients when they ask about AI. I'm super interested if you can share it. If not, it's okay, but I'm super interested if you can share it afterwards. And I would also like to feature it on my newsletter. I love what you mentioned. Now I want to talk about your newsletter. We're switching gears a bit, but we can go back, Nick. I'm really sorry if that's.
No,
okay. Yeah. When did you start? How did tell us a bit about your journey there. I think there's a lot for me to learn. My newsletter, I think it's newer than yours. Like, I think you've been in the game a bit more. And I'm very, very jealous, by the way, just to be clear, because every time I'm trying like top SEO newsletters, or a lot of times your newsletter comes up and I'm like,
well, thank you. That's very, very kind. How did it start? I started by posting on LinkedIn and Twitter, as it was at the time. So I started and I've got the list up. It was 2021. Just posting a tip every Tuesday. I called it Tech SEO Tuesdays. I still do it. Excuse me, and that was what it was. I would post something on those platforms that I'd learned or that was interesting and that other people I thought maybe didn't know, or just generally a random tip. Sometimes it was pretty obvious. But it was off the back of that I started the newsletter, and that's why it's called Tech SEO Tips, is the newsletter, and it's just a natural evolution of that. And then the way I do it now is, generally speaking, whatever tip I post on the Tuesday has an expanded version of that in the newsletter that comes out that week. There's some differences. Me and my partner are having a baby in a few months, so there's a lot going on in our life at the minute, which means that I'm not as organized. Thank you. Which means I'm not as organized with that as I used to be, and probably in the new year I'll have to take a little bit of time off. But yeah, generally structuring it that way makes it a lot easier. And I think I was probably doing the Tech SEO Tuesday tips on social media for a few years before I then started doing it as the newsletter, and it's grown quite organically, and still got a lot to do and a lot of what I want to do on the newsletter. It's not got a massive subscription base at all, but I've got a nice little engaged bunch of subscribers, which is the most valuable thing. And yeah, we're all still learning, right, in the newsletter space. And, you know, we did a little advert swap recently, the two of us, Sarah, which was nice.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm completely off like the topic here because like I'm the guy who never has time for anything, any initiative that I wanted to start. So, but don't call me too lazy. It's not that. I really don't have time. All jokes aside,
No,
yeah,
you have a baby. You have
yeah,
Max. That's enough.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So he's already over 2 years. So I need to like put my focus like on other things too. But the whole point there it was that like I always wished to start newsletter, and I'm really like trying to build like pretty good following on LinkedIn and stuff like that. But running your own agency, like I'm coming into 5th year of that. Before that, I was like also for 5 years consultant. So the whole point was that like, hey, like I really want all of those things, but when you're like when you need to make a website for your own needs, it's always the thing on the list. So my question there, as someone who is new to this, do you sometimes like miss inspiration for that, or like how you come up with the topics? Especially you said like you started to posting constantly from 2021. So it is like 4 year. You're also coming into 5th year regarding the newsletter. So do you have like any struggles with it, motivation or inspiration, stuff like that, or you always like push yourself on some magical way to be consistent?
No, it's definitely a struggle. Also, it sounds like I'll be coming to you for tips on raising a baby.
Yeah.
So I'll be coming to you in the new year with that one as well.
I love to talk about these things. Reach out, please.
And Sara too. Sara is the most experienced.
Okay.
Actually, I was okay. So I had my kids, and they're not helping around the house. I'm trying to, but they're not, and they're just causing mess everywhere. So I was, me and my husband, and they were there, and I'm like, remind me when we have kids next time, we raise them early on to clean around, because we learned, we need to learn from our mistakes. Like, it's just very hard when they're older and you're trying to get them used to cleaning up. So yeah,
maybe what I'll do once he starts crawling is I'll like attach a bush to like the back of his trousers, and he can start cleaning up as he's crawling.
My advice is to try to figure it out as soon as possible. Trust me, it gets harder and messier.
Can't wait. Yeah, back to, I guess I should actually answer your question, shouldn't I, instead of talking about babies. We could have another chat about babies, because I need all the help we can get. But yes, I do struggle for inspiration, more so the longer I've done it, because I feel like, well, I've already spoken about this topic, the people really want to learn about it again. But in terms of inspiration, I take it from other posts that I've seen on LinkedIn, people like yourselves. Maybe you'll say something that I agree with or disagree with, or it just sparks an idea. I go to a lot of networking events. I've also, as I mentioned, like run some local networking events. So there'll be stuff from that people share. I mean, I did one recently where we had a former colleague of mine. She's quite a new speaker. She did her first ever talk was Brighton SEO in October, and her second one was at our event last week. She's called Georgia James, and I didn't know what to talk about in my newsletter last week until I saw her talk, and she was talking about hreflang. I was like, she's done it brilliantly, so I'm just going to talk about exactly what she's talked about. I'm going to take a point that was on one of her slides, expand on it, and give her even more praise, and that's what I did. Obviously fully credited her and linked back to her pages. So it doesn't always have to be something completely new and original, and that's what I found. I also take inspiration from like conversations with my colleagues and clients. Maybe it was a problem that we faced that week, and then I can talk about that, or if it's a question from a client, whether it's a new question or one that I've had many times, maybe it's just a different way to approach that. But the main thing is just having something that people can use. And as I say, there's people of all levels of experience in the newsletter, so even if it's not relevant to you, it'll be relevant to the person next to you. And I think that's the way to do it, is trying not to please everybody.
And I think sometimes it's, even if it's simple, it's a reminder, because there's so much we
Yeah.
need to remember, and then, oh yes, this, right, so even if it's simple, it's good. If, even like, yeah, I know this, or someone says, yeah, I know this, but it may not have been on the front or on the top of their head right now, right? So and I mean, we can't be expected to have new stuff every day all the time. It's not going to happen, right? We're not
Yeah.
working in news, or we're just sharing what works in SEO, right?
Yeah.
I really I'm really amazed with tips from both of you, because I really look up to you regarding those things, as I said. So yeah, like when I think about that, even for LinkedIn, when I'm trying to post, and I'm trying to be like very frequent, like 3 posts per week at least, and I'm trying each time to find something, and then like when I Nick, you explained your process there, and I was going through my head and my process for LinkedIn, and it's actually amazing, because when you explain that, it's just click in front of my eyes, okay, that's actually very, very good thing. I also finding inspiration from the client conversation, and problems, team organization, whatever, blogs, newsletter, other newsletter stuff like that. But I really think that one very big thingy, and I love, unfortunately, like last year I was completely off from the events. I really love events, and you said that you organizing one of them. So can you let us know how you from newsletter and all the professional journey ended up in the event industry, and how that differs from anything else regarding SEO that you're doing?
Yeah, so we started the events because we're both based in Manchester, in the UK, and most of the events are in London or in Brighton, and they're great. Love going there. However, it is cheaper to fly to Spain or somewhere else in Europe.
Oh my God.
Genuinely, it is cheaper to fly to somewhere in Europe than it is to get a train from Manchester to London.
It's very weird, by the way. We have the same thing in Canada. It's more expensive to fly to, like, I want to fly to my sister. I can fly to US and have a vacation. It's cheaper. Like, literally, the flights are, yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. So that's why we did it. I mean, actually, I went to the International Search Summit in Barcelona about a week or two ago, and it was so. I mean, the cost of the whole thing is cheaper than what it would have been for us to get travel and hotel in Brighton. So that was a no-brainer for us. But yeah, that was why we started it, really, because so the event's called Tech SEO North. So we want things that are based in the north of the UK, and the concept is that we travel to different cities. We try and do like 3 or 4 in-person networking events per year, and in the middle of that we do webinars, so then it's accessible to everybody. But that was basically the idea, is what can we have that's local and accessible for everybody, and gives people a platform, especially with first-time speakers. You might be too nervous to go and speak at Brighton SEO or at Women in Tech SEO or any of these other amazing events.
Mm-hmm.
Come and try it out. And also, we're just wanting to build it as a small community of little tech nerds, and we can all help each other out. And we've done 3 now. We've done 3 events, so it's so far so good.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you that very maybe tricky question. Are you happy? Is it attendance level at the level? Did you have any expectation jumping in the unknown regarding events, and how are you happy regarding results that events yielded, for example, for this first year?
Yeah, it's been mixed. I mean, the one that we did most recently was the quietest of the 3, but it was still well attended. But it was also -2. And I know you said you're in Canada, Sarah, so it's a lot colder where you are than what it is here. But Brits don't cope with Brits really don't cope with cold weather. So I think that actually put a lot of people off. But it was still really well attended, and people got a lot of value from it. But I think that was the biggest thing, is maybe we won't have an event in November next time, or maybe we'll do certain things differently. But yeah, they've all been thankfully really well attended, and the
Amazing.
most important thing for us is whether there's 100 people or 10 people that turn up. The most important thing is that people get something valuable from it. Even if, like you said, Nick, even if it's just something that sparks a little idea, that's a win. Hopefully they'll get more from that. But yeah, just little something. And we didn't really have expectations, really. It was just let's see what we can do. We've been to quite a few events of various sizes, so we kind of had an idea of what we wanted to do and what not to do. And that's how it's gone, really. We've got really supportive sponsors that are involved, and hugely grateful for all of them, and we're hoping to continue that into next year. But we're not trying to be like Brighton. We're not trying to be this massive event. We want to keep it small and community led so that we can continue to provide the most value for people.
Amazing.
All this time, go ahead, Nick. I just want go ahead.
No, you for me it was only amazing, and props to that. I really inspired by that.
I'm sorry to interrupt your compliment. He was complimenting you. Anyways, I actually, all this time when I saw the word North in the event name, I thought like North Star, maybe like what's North coming from? I didn't figure out it's like a geographical thing.
Yeah.
That's.
I was just going to say, like, our website's still on the way. So once we eventually get onto that, similar to what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
You're doing these things for other people, so your website takes a backseat. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get that going in 2026, and then we'll explain that side of things a little bit more in terms of where North comes from. But yeah, it came from the idea of running the events in the north of England, basically.
Amazing. That, like for me personally, I just wanted, like, as Sara said, to give you compliments there. It's really inspirational, and I also think a lot of like times we have that struggle that, like, if we are not like rushing that enterprise level of things and success, it's overlooked in the modern era. I feel like. So I really have like huge appreciation for small base communities, and like if you're trying to make the impact, and I avoid that word, but like be affordable to the people from one or another perspective. It's very for me it's amazing, and it's rare nowadays. I also need to say that from SEO industry, and I'm glad that I met you. Like we really have people that have that sense to be like there for the community side. Clearly, there is like different examples. Some very bad ones and some very good ones. But at the end of the day, I feel as a community or of professionals overall, we are reaching that, and I really wanted to give you my props for keeping in mind that that events should be like affordable and should give like the best level of knowledge, expertise, whatever people who attends, even if that's like 5 people and not 500 or 5,000.
Yeah, 100%. And also, you're both being way too kind and giving me far too many praises that I don't deserve. But thank you very much. I mean, like, don't forget to give yourself props as well. Like, you're both amazing and very hardworking at what you do. So
thanks for your kindness, Nikki.
Don't
forget to give yourself
We're
credit.
actually very excited, and we're so excited to have you here, really, today, genuinely.
Yeah, for sure. I also wanted to like maybe have like some session of not like rapid questions, but like few more questions regarding SEO, because I really think with as I said, professionals as you are, we have like so many topics to cover, and then like we have like what 30-40 minutes, and we cannot cover everything. So I don't want to move super broad regarding SEO part, as I guess our listeners are mostly care about SEO, and to give them some more knowledge there. You mentioned schema markups, and tech SEO is like your I would say the most beautiful point of SEO. So what you think about, like what advices, let's say like that, I love to phrase like that, what advice you can like give for success in the current age of search or SEO, whatever you prefer, and how people should treat technical part of the websites. And I know that a lot of people are hesitant because of all mess about core web vitals. Companies invested money. That wasn't like true. So core web vitals were not like, ranking factor at the end. So things like that. How would you, in the simplest way, explain that and push with some advices for our listeners regarding that part?
Good question. I think the biggest thing I'd say for people that are new to the industry and that want to learn is ask questions. Speak to people online. Literally, jump into someone's DMs and just ask them a question. And if you're working at a company, ask the person next to you. I love working remotely, and I think it's a good thing, and it's what allows me to be more productive. However, early on in my career, and I think early on in other people's career, you learn more by working with people. So when you're starting out, I think there is a lot more value in working in an office with people, even if it's a co-working space. Just have those conversations, because it'll benefit you in the long run. Go to events, learn things, watch webinars, take a course if that's how you learn. I certainly wouldn't go after one that's just doing it for the certification, though, because people don't really look at them. But one that you're going to get actual value from and learn a skill, then that's 100% more valuable than a certificate 9 times out of 10. And just I think that's the biggest thing is ask questions.
For sure. And regarding tech part, sorry, Sarah, for here, because I asked like
No, go ahead.
Yeah, regarding tech part, core web vitals and everything, how you can like explain? Because I talk with a lot of professionals, and I completely agree with you. Like asking question is the first point, and there is that saying, always is a blessing to have access someone smarter than you, because you can always learn. But the point is like regarding tech SEO, a lot of people after whole debacle with core web vitals ditched tech SEO as non-important anymore, and it's just like one more checkbox on the list of things. So how would you tackle that part?
Nice and easy. So for me, you can have the best content in the world, you can have the best backlinks in the world, but if your website's not accessible, then it's worthless. If you've got amazing content that Google can't find it because it's buried in the architecture, it's completely useless. This is why you need technical SEO, because it, as I said in my intro, it makes sure that your website loads quickly, works efficiently, and is easy to find.
I added Nick in my name because everyone has Nick in their name today. So I was like, okay, I'm going to write it differently. Okay, I'll change that. But I just felt I wanted to be included. So
love it. The other way I explain it for people is that technical SEO is like having a mechanic on your car. So you take your car to a mechanic so that they keep your engine running. That's exactly what tech SEO does. It keeps your website running so that your customers can find it. And once people understand it that way, and it's not something that you just tick off on a box, it should be something that is always on, that you're always working with, and your tech SEO should always be monitoring, then it's a lot easier to get buy-in. And that's all it comes down to is understanding.
That's amazing. I really think like we should be more open, but like I really think that we don't get enough understanding, especially from the let's say short callers when we need to talk about that. I really think what Geo or whatever acronym we use today did for the whole SEO, it made our life super hard. I think that similar happened with core web vitals and tech SEO. So in one moment you have like companies investing to fix core web vitals. I heard some examples of 100K. Like it was crazy. Core web vitals got resolved, traffic dropped down, and then like founders are, you're all frauds. Like technical SEO is not SEO at all. Like whatever. And then I always had that example. Listen, like if that same as for Geo, like why you thought in that moment that core web vitals and moving your LCP for 0.5 millisecond down or whatever will boost your traffic? Like, is there intent? Like, is your site, again, we are coming back to checking the website. Is your site accessible? Is it working properly? Is it fairly fast? Also, it depends where your ICP, where you like, what is your hosting and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really glad, but I'm not sure. Like, do you? I need to ask you that as a professional here. Do you finding like a lot of understanding from the short callers, especially because you're working in a agency regarding like things? Hey, I'm not agreeing with that, or hey, we should do that. We should do this, or how usually that process of decision making going with you?
I blew my nose so hard. I'm sorry.
Bless
I'm
you.
sorry.
Yeah.
I know, I was very tempted to say bless you, but I didn't want to interrupt Nick because he was talking. Yeah, challenge with data. So if somebody says that they don't agree with me, great. I'm not saying you have to agree with me, but give me a reason why. It's not enough to just say, no, I disagree. Like, yeah, let's have a chat. Tell me why you disagree. Do you have any data that backs that up? This is my data that led me to my decision and my recommendations. Let's try and meet in the middle. And then it may be that, hey, if I end up saying, okay, I'm wrong, let's go with you, fine. I'm happy with that as long as we're all aligned. Hopefully everyone's going to agree with me, of course. But I don't think it's necessarily a problem if someone says no straight away. Just have that conversation. It's not something that's personal. It shouldn't be personal. And then we work together that way. And sometimes it's just because they don't understand why you've said that. But if you tie it into, say, this is part of the overall strategy, I'm doing this because of ABC, and that will lead to, this shared goal that we all agreed on, then that tends to work a lot better as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. Sarah, you can
Just one last thing. I think it's in SEO in our industry, it's a bit difficult to come up with new ideas or to say something that's different even a bit. We toss around words like scammer, fraud, whatever, right? Don't know what they're talking about in best case. If once you're saying something different, and we are in marketing, we should be creative, right? We should have this flexibility of testing out new ideas. Even sometimes we can end up being wrong, and it should be okay, right? There is a
That's how
big
you learn by being wrong.
right, like success is a lousy teacher, right? You can't be right every time as well. Like, but what I want to say is we need to have a better way of communication. Like it's not personal. Like, if, as you said, if I have a different opinion than yours, we're trying to figure out what's actually the best approach, right? It's not if I'm wrong, then I'm like less as an SEO. We're never going to be right all the time. We'll never know everything all the time as well.
Yeah, and I really agree with both of you. I maybe come from a different perspective because, like, usually on behalf of my agency, I'm handling direct this with the clients who are like usually like founders or people that are really don't care about SEO. They care about results, at the end of the day. So I don't have a lot of like, insightful chats and like opinion apart from community. And again, because of that, I missing events so much. Those are the best in my case, or like those podcasts, like when we can share different ideas and opinions. But like usually with decision maker, what I found is like that. Like usually decision makers are someone who gonna jump on the hype trend, and I really think like those very like not thoughtful opinions of some other people impacted that like SEO is currently in this stage as it is. And I really not hope, I'm pretty sure 2026 like the trend will reverse, and like SEO will be like again back from the dead. Hey, so for the end, Sarah and I we implemented some very nice like thing. So usually like we love to finish with maybe like one sentence on one opinion what you're like looking for. Clearly for you shared a lot of nice personal things, especially because of baby, and that's like the biggest moment in the life. But the points professionally, let's say like that, what would be like maybe the things that you are like looking for next, and like anything that you can like share in that final sentence would be amazing for the conclusion of this podcast.
Ooh, no pressure. Come up with a good line. What am I looking for? All I want is to work with good people, and thankfully that's what I have at Journey Further, and I think that's the hardest thing to find. So, I'm just looking for more of those really good conversations like today. So I'm always looking for podcasts to speak on, but also just come and subscribe to the newsletter. We can have a chat on there. All you have to do is subscribe and then hit reply to the emails, and I'll always answer on them. But it's just techseotips.co.uk. So subscribe to that. What would be my one takeaway is don't believe the hype. AIoT, all of the things, it's not real. It'll die down in a few years, but SEO will still be here. Yes, it's changed because of we've got AI overviews, we've now got sponsored results and everything else, but that was only the same when structured data and rich results first became a thing. Everyone panicked and said that SEO was dead then. SEO ultimately is not going anywhere, it's just changing, but it has always changed. This is nothing new. So don't believe the hype, follow the data, and run your own tests.
Yeah, I wouldn't like finish better myself, that's for sure, because like again, I think some comments will be that like we are like looking for same opinion guests here, which is not the case. But the whole point is that I really think that you're like super thoughtful about that, super experienced, super knowledgeable, and I really think that like for people with your attitude, that like for sure like Sara and I like fall down in the same category regarding opinion, that we don't need to worry about anything there, and actually we gonna like grow even more. So thank you for being our guest today. It was a pleasure for sure, and yeah, like that's it from me. Sara, you can like do the outro, and you can also, Sara, share what you're looking forward next until the next episode.
I'm looking forward to finishing my. Okay, I have an exam coming up, and this is driving me crazy. I feel I'm gonna faint. I'm not joking, literally. And then I'm looking forward to finishing my SEO strategy course that I have been dragging for so long now. So yeah.
As we all are, like our personal things. Nothing, Nikki. I
Yeah.
wish you all the best. Like all the best
Yeah.
with the baby. All the
Thank you
best
very
with the
much.
next year and the podcast. Sorry, a newsletter, and to be like the part of more podcasts there, or who knows, maybe some podcast from you in the future.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. Yeah, super excited.
So it was like amazing having you today, and nothing for our listeners. You can like follow Nikki and like subscribe on her newsletter, and we are excited to see you, I hope, in the few weeks with our new guest, and that would
Yeah.
be it for today.
Thank you so much, Nikki.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll end now.
So